The views on a Breath of Fresh Air podcast reflects the parties involved, and we encourage you all to use it as a conversational tool that will lead to personal studies of your own.
Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Welcome to a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz Gay. As a young person, Christianity can be so foggy, like smoke in the mirrors and so unclear. But we're here to bring you a breath of fresh air.
Behold, a king will reign in righteousness, and princes will rule with justice. A man will be as a hiding place from the wind, and the cover from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. The eyes of those who see will not be dim, and the ears of those who hear will listen. Also, the heart of the rash will understand knowledge, and the tongue of the stammerers will be ready to speak plainly. The foolish person will no longer be called generous, nor the miser said to be bountiful. For the foolish person will speak foolishness, and his heart will work iniquity. To practice ungodliness, to utter error against the Lord, to keep the hungry unsatisfied, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. Also, the schemes of the schemer are evil. He devises wicked plans, to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speaks justice. But a generous man devises generous things, and by generosity he shall stand.
Psalms 21 burst with royal gratitude, a king rejoicing in God's strength, celebrating victories only heaven could win. In Isaiah 32, shifts our eyes forward, painting a picture of a perfect, righteous king who will one day reign in justice and peace. Together, these chapters remind us that true security isn't found in earthly power or politics, but in the righteous rule of an unfailing salvation of God. Today, we explore just how this promise of a coming king changes how we live, lead, and trust right now. As always, be blessed and enjoy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of a Breath of Fresh Air podcast here with your hosts,
Nakhaz Gay.
and Earl Roberts. We truly appreciate everyone for tuning in every week. Appreciate the comments. Shout out Twigman. Twigman's listen like every week for sure. And Grammy, Grammy's listen, mommy, them too. See, that's where it's getting yourself in trouble when you start listening to people. But we definitely appreciate all of our weekly listeners. We appreciate the people who listen weekly too, because we appreciate y'all coming and catching up. But yeah, man, it's crazy because like we record this in July. This episode coming out in mid-August. By the time this episode comes out, both of our lives will be different. Marriage, kid probably are here. But God is good, man. God is good throughout it all. Like I'm about to take a flight tomorrow to another wedding in Seattle. Oh my! Life is busy, but life is exciting.
Your dog.
You can see the blessings of God flowing, so you can't complain. Can't complain. But all things with you, man.
I feel good, bro. We at 36 weeks at the time of this recording. So we are full term, full term. Had a check up to date, no probs. You know what I'm saying? Baby, probably about 6 pounds in there right now. And so I just excited, bro. I know it is a big adjustment, life change for sure. But I actually excited to meet my little one, Knowing that I have a girl, bro, I just be looking at, different people, girls, women, stuff like that. And I just be like, bro, I want to know what my daughter could be like. You know what I mean?
Who you want to take after? You want to take after you, or you want to take after Yana? Dun dun dun.
I mean, I find either one, bro. But I think I just don't know what me as a girl would really be like. You know what I mean? Like, so it's hard for me to say I want to take after me.
You swear you have a twin?
I have a twin, but that's not an accurate representation of me. My twin is our own entity, bro.
Fair point, fair point, fair
I'm
point. Shout
telling
out
you, man.
Nash.
Shout
But
out my
yeah.
sister Naja.
All right,
But
I bought. I bought it all. I bought it all. But
yeah, how about
yeah.
you though? How you been, bro?
Well, I've been good, man. I've been busy, but I've been good. I've been can't complain, bro. Like life just is. Life has been very interesting the last couple of weeks. I ain't gonna lie, but like it's interesting to just see God work through different things, different like darts the devil try to throw at you in these things, different things that you might get you more annoyed. Just finding the peace through the peace in the storm. Like every like wild card that's come up, God has still provided another solution for it. Like I mean, I told you this right, but like the officiant or the debacle, like it's just it's been so much things that you didn't like think that would even be a problem.
Mm.
But to me, it's just been like the devil just trying to like discourage and throw a wrench in God's plans, and then
That's a
try to
big
like,
one,
just
yeah.
like just mess up the union. I would say, but the peace that passes all understanding, God just working things out, God just providing an answer, a solution, and then working things out in a way that you didn't even expect to be working out, right? Because in my opinion, we have a more suitable and relatable officiant now is the best way to say it than the one we would have previously had. Not saying he's better, I'm just saying he's more relatable now. And
And
so, go for it.
and right, and you never know, bro. It really is very likely for the better. You know what I mean? Like the first officiant, things didn't work out, and it's frustrating because the timing.
Like the
You know,
timing was
like
awful.
yeah, the timing is really is the problem. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, God still provided, and
Yeah, man.
this off the strength that you even saying they more relatable, bro. This could probably could make for a more comfortable, or even more a more smoother, smoother time.
Yeah, man. I think even given the demographics of what our wedding is going to be, the officiant is more suited to handle that
See,
crowd.
and that's perfect, bro. Because I have a relative. They are the person they wanted to officiate couldn't do it, and that was a bummer. And then they were able to get a new officiant who was a family member. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like they were able to get them, and that was the perfect thing because this person he was like beyond the scope of an officiant or a
Mm-hmm.
pastor, bro. This like your uncle or your cousin
Mm-hmm.
was there, bro. You know what I mean? And so you could see the benefits, bro. Like you can't. They say you can't cry over spilled milk or whatever, but sometimes, bro, it really is be for the better, bro. And how you look like being upset over something, and God was like, bro, I just trying to do you one better. You know what I mean? I just trying to level you all up a little bit.
Exactly, exactly. Because and again, you never know what God truly got planned, and at the end of the day, I think there's a lot of things that people get like lost in the sauce with the weddings, right? But at the end of the day, it's still a religious ceremony where you really not confessing your love in front of your family members. You confessing your love for this person in front of God, and your
Mhm.
family members are a witness to this occasion. You know what I'm saying? I think sometimes we put the one before the other, but the most important thing is you and this person coming together before God to form a union. And you
Mhm.
promising to God that you were going to protect and love this person. And all your loved ones, or everyone else there, even though it's good for them to be there and they're enjoying the occasion, they're just witnesses to what you guys are committing in front of God. And I think like that's the importance of the situation. I think that's the part that a lot of weddings in modern times kind of lose sight of. You know what I'm saying? You
Mhm.
get lost in picking the right flowers, picking the right colors, making sure the dress is good, making sure your suit is good, making sure your all these different details come together, like all these different vendors, the DJ, the music. You're trying to curate such a special occasion for your guests. And I'm not saying that's not important, but you kind of lose sight of the main focus on what this event even is for. It becomes less of a religious occasion and more of a just like a party. And
A
I think
party, yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And there's an aspect of that, but to me, the ceremony is still a very important part and shouldn't get overshadowed. And it's part of the things I've been thinking about because I've been trying to. I can tell you before the call, I was starting to think of like the personalized vows. So some of these things, like the God aspect of it, like really started to
Mhm.
play on my mind today on the drive, and I'm like, that's important because honestly, I haven't been thinking about that aspect of it as much recently,
Mhm.
and so it's just started to really hit me today, like, oh, like what's the importance of this occasion that we all gathered here for?
Yeah.
And yeah, man, God is good, man. I'm looking forward to it, man. Like like last week I was starting to feel some of the pressure because some things, but things wasn't going the way we wanted to go. But now things starting to work out, and then I'm like, it's actually the pressure relief valve is open, so some of the pressure coming off of my shoulders, and now I'm like, yo, it's gonna be a good vibe, bro. Having like,
Yeah, bro.
it's only, but because like when you really think about it, bro, it's only very few occasions in life where you have literally, really and truly, the people you care about the most gathered in one place.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And one of the occasions is a funeral, unfortunately.
And you
You know,
you can't even see it. You know what I mean? Like you
you know
can't
what I'm
even.
saying? Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So to me, this is gonna be like, the people we actually care about the most in the world right now: family, friends, loved ones, friends who essentially are family, like you, Rihanna, Dom, Lindell, them, like gathered in one place and all just celebration. Like, it's gonna be a beautiful occasion, man. No matter what go wrong, 'cause I know something. Everyone say something could go wrong. I don't know what it could be, but
But if the people who planning and everything dread, they can make sure you ain't gonna know what going wrong. You
I
get what
hope,
I'm saying?
I hope so.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like anything go wrong in the background, no, they ain't gonna tell you that because that's how it's supposed to be.
That's
If
how
you're
it's supposed
smart,
to be.
you know what I mean. Someone they catch it, we gonna handle that. What's going on? You nothing, but everything's so dread. You know what I mean?
Man, I remember the wedding I was involved in. Man, we'd have lost the rings before the
I remember
ceremony.
this, bro. I remember this.
We could not tell the groom that the rings was misplaced.
Oh man.
But it was so serious, like an hour before the wedding, us as groomsmen was ready to pull up and go to a jewelry store downstairs, because we was at a resort. We was ready to go to the jewelry store downstairs and just purchase a ring, just to make sure we have a ring come ceremony time, because we cannot tell the groom that the ring is misplaced. And he see us conspiring and talking and thing, right? And like, what's going on? But you ain't nothing, bro. Everything cool, bro.
Straight, bro.
We just talking, but we trying to figure out where we can stop to pick up something before the reception, whatever, right? But it turned out, but we saying, wait, what we could do, bro? Like, the pressure at all, bro. We trying to search the room so inconspicuously, but it getting very conspicuous, bro. Because why you pick up that cushion 3 times, bro?
Right. What's so important and so secretive right now,
Yeah,
bro?
but I thought I'd leave my watch in the couch or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, bro. But like you say, when you have good people around you, their whole job is to take the stress off you for that day
Yeah, boy.
and figure it out in one way, shape, or form.
Cause you just got too much going on, bro. I can't know that the balloons ain't come or you know what I mean. This person, you know what I mean. I just can't know this stuff, bro. Like it really, bro. The show must go on, bro. Like you get what I'm saying. Like I
Come
don't
hell or high
care.
water, bro.
Real talk, bro. The
Oh
show must
Lord.
go on, bro.
And this is exactly why I wanted an indoor event. Because Lord of mercy, I'd have been outside looking at the clouds.
Boy, I
I'd
hear
have been
it.
outside looking at the clouds, boy.
But you gotta be a man of faith to book an outdoor wedding
In Florida.
in Florida in the summer, bro.
My
You get what I
goodness.
say, bro? You gotta be a faith, bro. You gotta be a place who just believe, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
You guys tell anybody, but it ain't a matter of if.
if
It's
it
a
ain't
matter
matter,
of when.
it's when. It's when. We were
And
just
it's a
talking
when on your side or not.
exactly, bro. Because remember we were just talking a few weeks ago how Florida is like Florida is the lightning capital of the world, bro. You see what I'm saying? Specifically, Central Florida, Orlando, like the most lightnings in the world, bro. Like or top two. You get what I'm saying? Because sometimes it might be Kissimmee, which is the city
Right
right
next
next
door.
to it. You know what I mean? Like, and so it's like if it's all that lightning, you know it's rain. You get what I'm saying? Like you know it's gonna be rain, bro. Just imagine how much rain if we got lightning. You know what I mean?
Fox.
And
Oh
so,
my.
bro, by the grace of God, bro, it's so interesting to me. This is very fascinating to me. It seems like a trivial thing because I don't. That's why I don't mention all the time. But it's just so fascinating to me how a wedding and a baby would never get old, bro. It's like when we read in Ecclesiastes, right?
Mhm.
And they were saying that, bro, ain't nothing better than to love the wife or you know what I'm saying? Like have your family and XYZ, right? It's like, bro, you telling me the man who had money, he had the clothes, he had the cars. You telling me this touched you so much that you wanted to say that you won't want to say, bro, ain't nothing better than getting your first million or you know what I mean? Like ain't nothing better, right? But think about it, bro. Baby's born every day, bro. Everybody you see in the world was a baby at one point, right?
That's a fact.
But when someone having a baby, everyone's so, oh, you catch what I saying? Like, it's so precious, but people can't believe it. You see a baby, people, oh my goodness. Like, you never see a baby before. Everyone who look at a baby is act like they never see a baby before, bro. You catch what I say? Oh my goodness. But it just show like the human element of it, bro. It's the same thing with weddings, bro. People just come to weddings. You just probably hear 1,000 wedding. You done been to your relative, your auntie, your uncle, your niece, and all type of people wedding, but you still can cry at this wedding, bro. You still can feel so like so
Mhm.
full, bro, at the wedding.
Mhm.
And then it's crazy because a wedding is one of the few extracurricular activities that's mentioned in the Bible, bro. Now we know marriage is mentioned in the Bible. We obviously know Adam and Eve was married, all type of people was married, but how many ceremonies do we know in the Bible, right? But
Mhm.
we know Jesus them had a ceremony and they was having fun. They was having so much fun. They was like, bro,
They run out
we
of
sh-
wine.
they ran out of wine, bro. And it's like, bro, hold on, bro. We gotta point out this person, Rachel. Your wine just keep getting better, bro. At the end of the day, when people are drunk, they're like, oh, we can get them the cheap stuff. No, you giving us the best wine, nah, bro. That's when you bringing out the top shelf type thing, you know what I mean? And so it's like to me, it's certain gems in life, bro. It's like priceless moments, bro. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And so this is definitely you and I. We both have this opportunity. You gonna have the priceless moment. This is probably gonna be one of the most monumental moments, events. You see what I'm saying? In your life by the grace of God. And bro, it's gonna be good, bro. If you anything like me, the morning of one or two like little nerves might come there, bro. But they could be like, bro, I just ready, bro. You know what I mean? Anyways,
Yeah.
showtime. You know what I mean?
Showtime indeed.
Showtime.
Indeed, indeed. God is good, man. I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy because by the time people ahead is it's all technically gonna be past tense, but you
Real
know.
talk.
All right. Do you want to go into Proverbs?
I don't even know how much time we done spent just now,
It's
but
about 15 minutes.
yeah, we could go to Proverbs. We could go to
15 minutes.
Proverbs.
All right, let's do it. So Proverbs 21. In the Lord's hand, the king's heart is a stream of water that he channels toward all those who please him. A person may think their own ways are right, but the Lord weighs the heart. To do what is right and just is more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice. Haughty eyes and a proud heart, the unplowed field of the wicked produce sin. The paths of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads towards poverty. A fortune made by a lying tongue is a fleeting vapor and a deadly snare. The violence of the wicked will drag them away, for they refuse to do what is right. The way of the guilty is devious, but the conduct of the innocent is upright. The way of better to live on a corner of the roof than share a house with a quarrelsome wife. Boy, talk about marriage, eh? The wicked crave evil, their neighbors get no mercy from them. The mocker is punished, the simple gain wisdom. By paying attention to the wise, they get knowledge. The righteous one takes note of the house of the wicked and brings the wicked to ruin. Whoever shuts their ears and cry,
To the
whoever
crowd.
shuts their ears to the cry of the poor will also cry out and not be answered. A gift given in secret soothes anger. A bribe concealed in the cloak pacifies great wealth. When justice is done, it brings joy to the righteous, but terrors to evildoers. Whoever strays from the path of prudence comes to rest in the company of the dead. Whoever loves pleasure will become poor. Whoever loves wine and olive oil will never be rich. The wicked become a ransom for the righteous, and the unfaithful for the upright. Better to live in a desert than a quarrelsome and nagging wife. Mercy. The wise store up choice food and oil and olive oil, but a fool gulps theirs down. Whoever pursues righteousness and love finds life, prosperity, and honor. One who is wise can go up against the city of the mighty and pull down the stronghold in which they trust. Those who guard their mouths and tongues keeps themselves from calamity. The proud and arrogant person, mocker is in his name, behaves with insolent fury. The craving of a sluggard will be the death of him, because his hands refuse to work. All day long he craves for more, but the righteous give without sparing. The sacrifice of the wicked is detestable. How much more so when brought with evil intent? A false witness will perish, but a careful listener will testify successfully. The wicked put up a bold front, but the upright gives thought to their ways. There is no wisdom, no insight, no plan that can succeed against the Lord. That's powerful. The horse is made ready for the day of battle, but victory rests with the Lord.
Amen. A lot of gems.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let me see. We ain't got no clue on who wrote this one. Oh, well, I guess Proverbs they don't say.
I guess
I
it's
think
all
it's
Solomon.
Psalms. Yeah, Solomon. Because I was trying to think. But in either way, this would have been written after David because when
Mm-hmm.
they say um, to do righteous and justice, verse 3, is more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? To do righteousness and justice. It's like when Samuel say obedience is better than
Better than
sacrifice.
sacrifice.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's a bad one, bro. Cause I can be real, bro. People always just talk about, bro. Whenever among Christian discord, bro. Whenever you have somebody that is a Christian that is intermingling with the world, like I talking about, they hard in the world. You know what I mean? I I talking about rappers, Christian rappers would say, "Oh, I was in this place, I was in that place," but it's like they talking about like they had certain parties in the industry where all type of weird stuff happening, right? In the comments, people would be like, "Bro, you gotta be Jesus hang around with sinners, bro. You gotta be a light in X, Y, Z, right?" And it's like, bro, to do righteous and justice is more acceptable than this sacrifice that you making. You see what I'm saying? Bro, you saying, oh, I doing this for this. And some, like, because people always have this thing where, oh, you never know what could come out of it. That's the problem, bro. I want to
Mm-hmm.
know when God show me good is going to come out of this, bro. You see what I'm saying? Like, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. It don't say, bro, oh, blessed is the man that chill in the counsel of the ungodly and convert them. You see what I'm saying? And it's like these same sinners who Jesus was walking with, bro. What do we mean by that, bro? Everybody in the world is a sinner, bro. Obviously, Jesus is gonna walk with sinners, right? But we can clearly see when Peter and them, they move on to be apostles, they move on to be great teachers, to be this and that and the third. But are we saying that Jesus hung around with people who was drug dealers and pimps and stuff like that, and they continue to be drug dealers and pimps? Because I remember as soon as Jesus put together the 12, he sent them out. He sent them out, go and preach and go and do miracles and all type of thing, bro. That was early in the ministry, you know what I mean? But I'm like, bro, how Jesus find you don't gotta be how you stay, you know?
And it wasn't.
And it wasn't, bro. And I ain't casting judgment, but I just like, bro, there has to be a clear distinction of righteousness, bro. If I doing something that people who we know unrighteous, that's their lifestyle doing, bro. We can't rationalize it saying, oh, you never know, I might heal someone by going into the club and I doing this and that. I ain't there just chilling. You never know,
But
I
and,
might
and
convert someone.
even to like finish, like continue your point, right? Think about it, bro. Jesus called them out of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
You were a fisherman of fish. I'm going to make you fishers of men. Zacchaeus, come down from that tree. Matthew, you boys, people start to follow him. They no longer were there for refreshments. Matthew was a tax collector.
And that was considered one of the biggest sinners back then, bro.
Exactly, but but like to my point, right? He was a tax collector. Matthew wasn't a tax collector when he was following Jesus,
Right, we
but
ain't
he
hear about him saying,
was
"Oh, I
a
gotta
tax
go there."
collector. Peter,
Yeah.
Andrew, John, James, John, they were fishermen.
Right, this one is a zealot. You
You
know
know
what
what
I
I'm
mean?
saying?
Like,
Like their lifestyle started to change after they started to follow Jesus and started to work with him. And to your point, Jesus sent them out to do missionary work while he was alive. It wasn't people just thinking that was after, like he died and sent them out. No, like while he was alive, he sent them out. Yeah, you go there, you go there, you go there, you go there, and you all come back and think. You know what I'm saying? Like so, like he there was a redemptive quality and a repentive quality into everybody. He didn't leave you how he found you. The woman at the well, he didn't leave her how he found her. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So,
Yeah, because think about this, right? When we have Samuel and Saul, right? Samuel say, God say, when you go to kill the Amalekites, don't bring back nothing. Saul say, I could bring back the king as a trophy, right? I could bring back all these sheep. But Samuel say, no, but you're supposed to destroy everything, sheep, everything. He lists it out, bro. Like so there ain't no confusion. Don't bring back anything. But what Saul say? Oh, I bringing them back to sacrifice to you. That's the literal sense of sacrifice, right?
mm-hmm,
But here, even in the figurative sense, I am sacrificing obedience for the sake of doing God some type of favor, right? It's like, bro, I could do this degenerate thing or be around this like just in this sinful environment, right? Or this hypothetical sinful environment for the sole purpose of maybe I will save souls. You say, well, I have to save souls in a brothel. Like, just think about that, right? Because I just think in a like an extreme, right? Imagine if I was just in there chilling all the time, I just chilling with people. I might not be participating, but I just in there and I around it, bro. Some people like, oh no, what's wrong with that, bro? You never know. But why? But why can't I just wait till they come out, yo, and do the same thing, bro?
right.
You
By the
get what I
moment
say?
you come change, and to your point, right? Like, oh my, I get what people be trying to use that argument, right? And my thing is, earnestly in your heart, are you going in this environment truly seeking change, or you just saying, are you just going in this environment saying, potentially I might be a salt of the earth, but I ain't really in here to be a salt, because those are two different things. You know what I'm saying? Like when Jesus went into the temple court, yes, at that time he went there to change what was happening. He went over there to change, to flip over tables. He didn't go over there just to observe. He went there with a mission. You know what I'm saying? Like, and to me, it's a completely difference.
See,
And
but still ain't nothing wrong with being in the temple. You catch what I saying? So it ain't like he gone in this gambling house, right? And he start flipping tables. You catch what I saying, bro? Like he was still in the temple at the end of the day, bro. This was during the Passover. Why? What better place to be than in the house of God? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
but yeah, that's my philosophy. Obviously, I probably ain't 100% right, and I don't have to always be right, but yeah, I do. Sometimes I just truly disagree with people saying, bro, you could put yourself in this predicament, you know what I mean, for the sole purpose of possibly saving souls. Because in my mind, I'm like, bro, you all don't understand, bro. You will never save a soul, bro. It's always the Holy Spirit, bro. You get
Mhm.
what I saying, bro? It's always them working, and it don't have to be in the worst environment, bro. It can be at any time, my thing. So just do righteous, bro. You shouldn't have to try to say, oh, I because remember that time, man, the pastor say, bro, for our Easter set production, we can get as close to sinning as possible without sinning, right?
Yeah,
So
wild.
we remixing all the secular music. We having these skits, and they talking about all type of crazy stuff that ain't totally like it ain't for church. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's pure entertainment y'all trying to do, right? And it's like, oh, you never know. People, the young generation, just not okay. It ain't cool, bro. Like my thing is, bro, to do righteousness and justice is more acceptable than whatever type of sacrifice. Cain give a sacrifice, bro. Cain give to God what he thought was best, but it was not what God asked, bro. You was being disobedient and giving me your best, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, yeah.
Agreed. 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 All right. So let us transition to Isaiah 32. Isaiah 32. All right, let's hit it. So Isaiah 32. Just put this on this screen. That way. All right. Behold, a king will reign in righteousness, and princes will rule with justice. A man will be as a hiding place from the wind, and a cover from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of the great rock in a weary land. The eyes of those who see him will not be dim, and the ears of those who hear him will listen. Also, the heart of the rash will understand knowledge, and the tongue of the stammerers
Mhm.
will be ready to speak plainly. The foolish person will no longer be called generous, nor the miser said to be bountiful. For the foolish person will speak foolishness, and his heart will work iniquity. To practice ungodlessness, to utter error against the Lord, to keep the hungry unsatisfied. He will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. Also, the schemes of the schemer are evil. He devises wicked plans to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy seeks justice. But a generous man devises generous things, and by generosity he shall stand. Rise up, rise up, you women who are at ease. Hear my voice. You complacent daughters, give ear to my speech. In a year and some days you will be troubled, you complacent women. For the vintage will fall, the gathering will not come. Tremble, you women who are at ease. Be troubled, you complacent ones. Strip yourselves, make yourselves bare, and gird your sackcloth in your waist. People shall mourn up. People shall mourn upon their breasts for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine. On the land of my people will come up thorns and briars. Yes, on all the happy homes in the joyous city, because the palaces will be forsaken, the bursting city will be deserted, the forts and towers will become layers forever. A joy of wild donkeys, a pasture of flocks, until the Spirit is poured upon us from on high. And the wilderness becomes a fruitful field, and the fruitful field is counted as a forest.
All right. So, in terms of historical context, some people believe that this was an earlier prophecy of Isaiah, despite it being somewhat in the middle of the book. They believe that this was a prophecy given during the reign of King Ahaz, which was the first king that Isaiah was under. And if that is the case, they believe this king. Firstly, it's two kings, two people that this prophecy can be about in regards to the king. They could be talking about a future righteous king of Judah, or they could be talking about obviously Jesus, the King of Kings. You know what I'm saying? And the
Mm-hmm.
government and the correction or the way of the land would be such the breath of fresh air, no pun intended, that he would bring just from being here, right? And if you factor in that this may have been like an earlier written text, this could also mean that he's talking about a future righteous king. Ahaz was a wicked king. During Ahaz, there was strife, there was wars, rumors of wars, stuff like that, and there was just other. I don't want to say turmoil, but it was they were just disorganized in their belief system. Now let's imagine that this was an earlier. Let's imagine that this was one of the earlier texts that Isaiah written. When we think about the some of the previous chapters we just went through, we see where they say they have people who making oaths with the dead. You know, they believe in certain lies. They abandoning the truth of God. They worshiping idols and they doing all of these things. It would kind of make sense how in at the beginning of this chapter they talking about the correction that a king would make. For instance, they'd say something like, "The eyes of those who see will not be dim, and the ears of those who hear will listen," right? They go down to say, "The foolish person will no longer be called generous, nor the miser said to be bountiful." This is all during a time where everything is upside down. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Yeah. Oh, this actually remind me of something. I think there was I know there was a few texts that we spoke about where they was just talking about drunkenness, right?
Yep.
Literal spiritual drunkenness. But I do think I remember blindness being a metaphor used to those who are not able to like they ain't talking about
Like
literal
essentially, God,
blindness.
like the
Yeah.
time of like when God stopped sending them prophets, and the
Hmm.
people were essentially spiritually blind because they had no
Yes.
one to interpret like the prophecies and anything like that that they would have been receiving. So no one just knew what was going to happen or what was happening.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what I talking about. But now we see in this chapter they talking about those the eyes of those who see will not be dim. You see what I'm saying? The ears of those who hear will not listen. You know, I can't say for certain which like the time frame when this was actually written. You know what I'm saying? But it is speaking for future restoration of Jerusalem. On the last chapter or the last few chapters, they talk about Assyria, right? They prophesied what's going to happen to Assyria, and they prophesied what's going to happen to Judah, right? We know Assyria is going to come, they're going to do some damage, but basically God is going to strike them down, and we know how the story goes. But if we could just take ourselves out of that, let's just imagine that we didn't know how the story goes. This prophecy is talking about future restoration or future justice, or like just everything being in a much better predicament because of a future king that is a king of righteousness.
Yeah. Do you think there's any possibility that this might have been talking about Hezekiah, who's coming right after
I
Ahaz?
do think it's a strong possibility. It's so if we it just depends on when we think this was written, right? If this was written
Yeah.
during Ahaz, this would easily be talking about Hezekiah. But if it was written during the king Hezekiah, it might be talking about Josiah.
Yeah, facts.
One thing that's interesting about Hezekiah, when the Bible describes his righteousness, they say like he was righteous and no king after him was as righteous as him. You know what I mean? Although we do know Josiah was righteous, and Josiah, he didn't um he didn't fall off like how Hezekiah fell off. Hezekiah
Josiah
had a
had a long
fall.
reign too.
Yeah, and I think Josiah broke down a lot of the idols except for that one. Remember they had this one
Yeah, the
high
high
place.
places. Yeah.
Yeah,
I had a hole on them.
yeah, boy. And so, from that perspective, right? Let's just put it from the perspective of an earthly king. I know we read in the Bible, and it's easy to just say every time they talk about a king who doing all this stuff, they obviously mean in Jesus. But a lot of times, things can be taken literal, and it could also have a double meaning. You
Prophetically,
know,
yeah.
when Jesus came, about some pastors, if you let them tell it, every protagonist in the Old Testament was a type of Jesus. You know what I'm saying? And bro, and they'll put it together nice because they'll bring every good quality of anybody in the Old Testament, and they'll show you where Jesus came and did that, or he fulfilled
Hmm.
that. You know what I'm saying? And Hezekiah was a major part of that, because if we really think about it, this was during a time of like spiritual darkness for them. Ahaz was wicked. They had a lot of wicked kings. They had been straying away from God, and Hezekiah came in, and his even though his dad Ahaz was wicked, he was like, I ain't gonna be like that.
Hmm.
I gonna restore stuff. I gonna teach the law. I gonna implement things on the way they should go. And some could say that's with Jesus. Jesus was setting the Pharisees straight. Hold on, y'all was doing this, but that ain't what we supposed to be doing. We supposed to be doing like this. We supposed to be keeping this, and so on.
Yeah. Oh,
And so I mean, yeah, bro, just beyond that, everything else that we just covered, it really just saying, I take from it, they just saying that everything that we dealing with now is going to be corrected. And if you look at it that way, it will make sense what they saying. Also, the heart of rash will understand knowledge, right? So the irrational person, they can understand now. They can be normal. The foolish person will no longer be called generous, nor the miser be called bountiful. Everything is just upside down. For the foolish person would speak foolishness, and his heart will work iniquity to practice ungodliness, to utter error against the Lord, to keep the hungry unsatisfied, etc. All of these things that are sin and are unfruitful for your spiritual life, we ain't gonna look at this as saying it's wise. We can say this pure foolishness. You know what I mean? Like I'll be on scrolling on social media, and I could be real. My algorithm is egregious, bro. All type of just different genres. It could be sports. It could be this. All type of stuff. There's
hmm.
this one guy. He's like a hood dude, right?
Hmm.
He's be talking all of these like philosophical stuff, bro. Very niche, bro. Like you can't look at him and say, "Oh, he's a this. He's a Hebrew Israelite. He's a." You can't look at him and say, "Bro, the stuff he talking about, I never hear about before, bro."
Hmm.
You get what I'm saying? He had one thing. He's on this rant talking about how, bro, the Bible said, they always say, "Oh, the Bible say this, right?" And then misquote the Bible, like just like utterly butcher a text, right? Or just make up a text with just nowhere in the Bible, right? But then he started to saying, bro, the Bible say, as a man think it, so is he. Like, so I don't know if he even quote that text, but he basically was saying, bro, as we think it, it become real, right? Bro, death wasn't even a thing, bro. But the devil convinced people that death is real, right? And then so many people start thinking it now we die. He's saying that, right? I scroll past it so fast and say foolishness, right? But if you go in the comments, you can see people saying, bro, you keeping it real, bro. You telling the truth, bro. You doing this and that and the third. And they believe it.
They
They believe
buying
it.
into it.
They believe it, bro. And he might believe it.
That's
You know
crazy.
what I mean? I always give people the benefit of the doubt when they talking utter foolishness. I say, boy, I think you believe in that because I don't call you a liar. I rather call you foolish than call
Misguided.
you misinformed, misguided, something than just to say you lying. I'm gonna put that on you, bro. You know what I mean? Because I don't know
Hmm.
you. But yeah, so I mean, when the king establishes the truth, right? In this case, it's probably Hezekiah or maybe Jesus or both, right? Because Hezekiah is a type of Jesus, which means he's a foreshadowing of Jesus. Um, People are gonna look at they're gonna listen to what the fool is saying, right? And they're gonna say, oh, this foolishness. I see that this ain't true. This is a fruitful conversation, you know. Um, you take a pivot in verse 9, from verse 9 to verse 15, and it's kind of like a call of action, you
Yeah,
know?
complacent.
Yeah, like,
Can't be complacent. And to me, this really was talking about you can't be complacent in a life outside of Christ. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all complacent and doing all this worldliness, worshiping all these different idols, and you complacent in a place of danger. You don't even realize you're in danger. You know what I'm saying? Like
mhm.
all your trust should be in me, but all your trust in these other nations right now. Your trust in all of y'all selfishness instead of putting your trust in God. And then that was a very short version of what I was getting from this as we was reading and studying.
Yeah, bro, and that's a good point, bro, because sometimes sometimes you can really, firstly, sometimes you could just don't take things serious. You know what I mean? And we can see even among the Israelites, bro, a lot of things wasn't well. I should say Jews, because I don't want to use that interchangeably. But during this time in the Bible, excuse me, the people of Zion or of Jerusalem, they actually wasn't taking a lot of things seriously. And next chapter we can get a little more in depth in that because we're gonna revisit an Assyrian prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but to me, it's like this is saying that, hey, y'all comfortable, but things about to happen soon. You know, and so it's like you can't just be chilling like everything normal. And why would you say that? Like in the context of what this is saying, right? The text start off by saying, "Hey, a king is coming, a king is coming," right? But hold on, y'all acting like the king already here, and y'all acting like y'all played your part already. Y'all
Like
y'all was doing everything right already.
exactly. Like y'all good with the king.
Like everything is straight. Like everything is normal and how it's supposed to go, but that's not the truth. So certain things gonna happen. The king is gonna come. We're gonna have correction. Like basically, he's gonna correct some of the things that need to improve. But also, we still gonna face some of the consequences of our actions as well. So we can't just be sitting around like oh no, we straight. We can get our king and everything straight. Um, you know, because let's say this really means Hezekiah, right? When Hezekiah was there, they surely had a Syrian conflict. That's what we've been talking about for the past couple of chapters, right? The Syrian conflict during Hezekiah reign. Even when Josiah was there, but we still have to deal with the Assyrians. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, no, we can't get comfortable because at the end of the day, we do a lot to break down our fortress, right? We was fortified with God. However, we turn away from God. It's like when Peter was walking on water and Peter turned his head. Some people take that as saying Peter was like trying to show off, like, oh, I doing it myself. But other people look at it like, oh, I just lost my train of thought. I don't know what the other way people is like. Oh, people like Peter was trying to. I don't know the other way, but basically he turned his head away from Jesus type
Mm-hmm.
situation. You know what I mean? So you ain't complacency once again. You was doing it. You was in flow. You know what I mean? And now you like, I got this, and then you start to sing. And even after Hezekiah, bro, Israel, the king, I'll just speak on behalf of the king that succeeded him. He didn't do right now as a God, if I remember correctly. And that's why when Josiah come back, it was a big thing. They implemented stuff like the Passover and thing, and it's like, oh, this is the first time this ever happened since, You know what I mean? They'd say something wild, but
Exactly.
like we did the Passover, and this is the first time it happened since Moses' time, or something crazy, or since Samuel or something, you know. And you're like, bro, how? I thought this was a regular thing, you know what I mean? And these things, us turning away from God, us worshiping idols, our just our poor practices and our lack of regard for God. These things, it break down our defenses. And what's going to happen when our defenses are gone? We are moving outside of God's protection. We basically waiving our right to be protected by God based on our actions, you know. And now we call in, and that leave us vulnerable to, you know, these outside forces. So how could we be complacent, you know?
It was 57 years between Hezekiah and Josiah. That's interesting.
Yeah, so that's how many kings? Two?
Yeah, two, Manasseh and Amnon.
Mm.
Ammon.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
And after Josiah, it was all downhill from there.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
It was all
That's where it
downhill.
really gets spooky though, bro. Because it's like people was coming in, the Babylonians, they coming in, and they ain't even trying to like capture y'all, you know, bro. I just beating y'all up a good much to y'all know y'all can't beat me. So just do whatever I say. You can still be king.
Just capitulate. Just capitulate.
Right.
We ain't asking for much.
You still is king, okay? Don't worry, I ain't trying to take your kingdom. You still is king. Just do whatever I say. Oh, y'all want to revolt? Okay, no. Now you was king. The random person I picked, you was the king now. You know what I mean?
Exactly. We ain't gotta slap up too much. Just know y'all can't beat me. So I spare in your life and I spare in my men life.
And then right, like I remember reading that in Chronicles, and I was sad for them, you know. But I was like, bro, wow, you fumbled the whole kingdom. You was the one who was the last king before you know what I mean, before it all got taken away. And I looking at it and I like, bro, and just thinking about it, like how foolishly you handle it. You didn't believe it was gonna happen. You know what I mean? You wasn't caring about God for real. You know what I mean? And I reading in Proverbs, bro, like today, and I just looking at like the things they saying, bro. Like when you do wickedness, bro,
Hmm.
like the punishment gonna come, bro. Like you know what I'm saying, you do foolishness, bro. The punishment gonna come, bro. And all week, bro, we just been seeing different things happen in the media, bro. I've been dealing with a few people in like that I know, bro, getting locked up, doing this and that and the third. And I don't know how to
Boy, oh
feel, bro.
boy.
I don't know
Boy,
how
oh
to
boy.
feel, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause I like on one hand, I like, bro, I feel disappointed because you in that predicament. And obviously I don't want nobody be in that predicament, right? But I
Hmm.
like, bro, if you was doing foolishness, right? And I ain't trying to call you stupid, but I say you was doing something that was just unwise, bro. That just the risk to reward of it, bro, it just was not worth the risk whatsoever, bro. You get what I saying? Like, you doing that, it made me just like, bro, I just can't rationalize it for you, bro. Like it just don't make sense to me. You know, some things you just can't hurt your head over because it's no rhyme or reason to it. You know.
It's no rhyme or reason, bro. And I get your point. It's like I can be sorry for you for the situation you in, but at the same time, some of this sympathy goes away because how you even find yourself in this predicament to begin with.
You participated in putting yourself in this predicament.
It's like your best friend Samson, for example, right? You carried Samson very hard, rightfully so,
For
because
years.
Samson, you find yourself in the predicament that you put yourself in. Like, why was you in bed with Delilah after you know? Well, the
She tried
signs was
lying to you.
clear that she was trying to line you up multiple times because you just so happen to tell her one thing, you wake up and you find yourself in this exact thing that you tell her when people trying to attack you.
He couldn't have
So
been the
why,
baddest tool in the toolbox.
like, why would you tell her the truth?
Sharpest tool.
And the funny thing about it is, this mob was sharp because he catch like 400 foxes and light them on fire to destroy their whole dam. That is very crafty and creative.
He had a weakness. He had a weakness, man. That's all I could say, bro.
So that's the next thing is like when you think you're invincible, and I think that's the next thing with just like masculine culture in general. Like, granted, I ain't downplaying masculinity. I think it's very neat in society, but at the same time too, it's like when you get to a point where you like overly confident because of the power dynamic that is created, that you think you are invincible and nothing can take you down. Now that's where you find yourself in a predicament that you should never be in.
Yeah, that's that pride. That's
Yeah.
that pride once again, bro. It's blinding. You know what I mean?
Hmm. when you cannot see your blind spots because surely this could never happen to me.
No, I straight, bro. I could never be. You know what I mean? And I don't think people is even say these things out loud, but it's just already known. Like
Yep.
when you're doing something and you straight like for instance, right? So you live on your own, right? But let's say you when you and Izzy move in together, right? And you say, "Man, I used to go in the fridge and I ain't getting no cup to get my juice. I just pour that in my in my
Take it
mouth
to
and
the head.
I put that to the head, bro, and I going. But that's a route if someone else you live with see it, right?
Mhm.
But now you home alone. You're like, boy, you weren't even thinking I can't get catch. It's already understood. Like, you know what I mean? I straight, bro. I can do what I want to do. That's just a random example, right? And I do think, bro, that's what pride is doing here, bro. Pride is up. You're like, bro,
Us.
yeah, no, I straight. Like, you don't even think to protect yourself or even to move wisely when you operating like that, bro.
That's a fact, bro. That is a absolute fact. And yeah, then that's how people is find themselves in these predicaments. Like all these different kings, all these peoples, all the Israelites, like yeah, and it's wild, right? Because I mean, like history repeats itself, right? These problems still plague us to this day, and it just shows how crafty the devil is. Because he don't even gotta, bro. Like ain't like he inventing new sins. I mean, I know last week we was talking about people inventing ways to sin, right? Because the idols, right? And it's like, all right, that way was already invented, and people still inventing different ways to become different things to become idols in their lives today, right? But at the same time, it's like, bro, this isn't a pride, this isn't a woman for man, this isn't indulgences. But these things been happening for years, bro. And it's just the same thing, just remastered, and just packaged just slightly differently for you, but it's the same underlying thing.
Mm.
And it just shows how powerful it is to this day. And when that's kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, same little thing. And the thought always is beating me in my head saying, bro, why didn't the king just serve God, bro?
Hmm.
This such an easy thing to do. Like, bro, just do the right thing. Just be righteous. You catch what I saying? Like,
I agree.
but then the thought in my head was like, so why you don't do it?
Exactly.
Why the person who's the accountant or the carpenter or the electrician, why they don't do it? You get what I'm saying? It's like you putting all of this responsibility on the king, but each of us have that exact task to do. Like that this exact objective. You
Hmm.
have your personal life, you have your work life or whatever, but then it's your spiritual life, right? Whether you're the king or not, why you ain't doing it? That's so I think everybody have that cross to bear, so to speak. Like, is when you want to be righteous, or you want to do your own thing, or you want to just completely disregard God whatsoever. Because that's what I getting from these kings, bro. I getting um they didn't value the religion. So I could be real. Other religions are very attractive, bro, because it could speak to the thing that you like the most.
Hmm.
If you into polygamy, I know a bunch of people who like just love like just African spiritualism or even like Islamic faith and stuff like that because to them it's like, oh, this permits me to be polygamous, and that's what I feel like is natural for me. That's some people think, but they find a religion that cater to this thing for them, and it just click for them like, oh, this makes sense. Some people love the scientific thing of like you go into Scientology or astrology, and what I mean, all these other just philosophies and way of spiritual way of life. Like it fascinates you, you know. And I remember like just being young. I remember Rastafarianism was like one of the coolest things to me, bro. Like it was like a rebel. It's like an honorable thing, but it's like almost like a rebellious thing too, bro. Like it's like no, I like I was a tough person, bro. Like
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Like I fierce and I always do right. Like I just so righteous type person, you know. And it just and I know some people who that's what they end up being, bro. That's what they end up being. Obviously, it ain't as big in our culture, so I don't as it is in Jamaica, I'd say. But so I don't fully understand the religion because it's like they still read the Bible, You know what I mean? But they have different interpretations of it. And if that's what you're into, especially if you're someone who Afrocentric, that's another religion for you to be in. But the Afrocentric people, bro, and you know a lot of us have that need, but because we don't have lineage, like we don't have like ancestry
Yeah, we
that go
can't
back
chase out
thousands of years. You know what I
exactly.
mean? So some people love Rastafarianism, they love Hebrew Israelite, the Nation of Islam, like certain branches of
Hmm.
these religions that really speak to them. Everybody is always, to me, in my opinion, there's always something in us that could be appeased by some religion that's out there. But at the end of the day, like I feel like the search should always be for truth. It should always be for truth. You know what I'm saying? It should always be for what is actually, to me, what is actually true righteousness, beyond if it conflicts what I want. And so these kings, bro, I just imagine that they come in office, right? And you look at these other nations and you might parlay with them, and you say, hey, man, hey, this person is worship this idol, I respect, or this religion, I'm respecting of them, I
Hmm.
understand it. And whether you agree or not, but you get to practicing it, or you get to try to learn about it, but you don't reject it, but you don't look at this like, bro, me and you disagree. I don't gotta agree with you, bro, but I truly do not believe this. You say, I ain't gotta treat you bad, but I just don't believe it, bro. I believe in the Most High God, XYZ. You get to playing with these things, and you get to seeing how they appease different parts of your body or your mind, and then you get to falling in it and convincing you, and there's so much convincing you have to do, bro. Like, I talking about these kings specifically. They have to go against all of their ancestors. They have to ignore history, how we get here, and say, bro, I following after this strange God. And we see that happen time and time again, bro. It just seems like, if you just read the book, it's like, bro, why they keep doing this? Why they keep doing this? But you gotta remember how intriguing these things is, bro. It's the same reason why so many young people leave the church. A lot of young people who I know leave the church, but they just leave the church, don't do nothing a lot of times, bro. You
That's
see
a
what I'm saying?
fact.
Like,
That's a
they just
big
leave the
fact.
church, just don't go to church, bro. But a lot of them do. They find these other things, bro, and it appease something that they feel like they was missing.
Hmm. Agreed. Agreed. And that's a serious thing. Like the church hurt is. I even say it's a church hurt. To your point, it's like a longing for something that you feel that another religion or denomination provides for you that you're not missing. To me, that's also always comes back to like the 80-20 rule. And that's a different conversation for a different day. But that's what you said was a valid point. I realize we still got like 4 or 5 verses left, so I can finish this out. So verse 16, the justice will dwell in the then justice will dwell in the wilderness, and the righteousness remain in the fruitful field. The work of the righteousness will be peace, and the effect of righteousness, quietness, and assurance forever. My people will dwell in peaceful habitation, in secure dwellings, and in the quiet resting places, though hail comes down on the forest, and the city is brought low humiliation. Blessed are you who sow beside all waters, who send out freely the feet of ox and the donkey.
So, in terms of the complacency, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like, trouble is gonna come. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, they say verse 13, yes, on all the happy homes in the joyous city, because the palaces will be forsaken, the bustling city will be deserted, the forts and the towers will become layers forever, a joy of wild donkeys, a pasture of flocks, until the Spirit is poured upon us from on high, and the wilderness because a fruitful field, and the fruitful field is counted, becomes a fruitful field, and the fruitful field is counted as a forest. So basically, this is just assurance that, there's things to worry about, there's things to prepare for, there's things that will happen until God intervenes. You know what I'm saying? And this verse right here kind of make me feel like the text, this whole text was talking about an earthly king, when they were saying the king is gonna do this and this and that, because it's like until the Spirit is poured from on high, it don't really say until the king XYZ. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? But it could still be Jesus. They talking about this whole time, or both. I'm not. It's not really like a firm stance I'm taking. And then once the spirit has come, right? So like let's think about in the book of Judges, right? They worship idols, God bring them, give them over to their enemies. They cry out to God. They was complacent before their enemies come. They cry out, and then God, through
Mm-hmm.
His Spirit and through His power, rescues them. And then what'll happen? You know what I'm saying? What was described from 16 to 20 is just peace. You know what I'm saying? When God is in control, justice is happening, righteousness is going to happen. You see what I'm saying? Peace, quietness, and assurance will happen. And in verse 17, it says, the work of righteousness will be peace, and the effect of righteousness, quietness, and assurance forever. Right? I didn't look at the Hebrew here to know what type of forever they're talking about, but if we take this in the literal human word forever, this is talking about what happens during God's eternal reign. Peace forever. You see what I'm saying? Like, um, my people will dwell in a peaceful habitation in secure dwellings and quiet resting places. You know what I'm saying? Like all of the any type of strife or anything that was out of whack and that was not decent and in order will be corrected when God comes, you know what I'm saying, and He reigns and establishes His perfect peace and His perfect kingdom. You know, one thing I like about Isaiah, I don't know if you have anything to say on it.
I was gonna say like the perfect peace is a serious thing. I know we mentioned that like a couple of chapters ago in ISI, but that perfect peace is a serious thing. And then just piggybacking off of your thoughts, right? It's really showing like the contrast, right? When you're living for yourself and when you're living for God. In one instance, you might be complacent, but you're complacent in the wrong things. And do you think you're safe? You're really in a tumultuous world that any little thing that can change in your life is turned upside down. But under God's protection, there could be a hailstorm outside. You know what I'm saying? There could be storms raging around you. The city is brought down on humiliation, but then God still has you saved, safe. You know what I'm saying? There's a peace that passes all understanding when you in God's perfect peace. And man, my people will dwell in peaceful habitation, in secure dwellings, in quiet resting places. It's away from the hustle and bustle. You know what I'm saying? You have a peace that is now secured by God. And He's saying, like, rest assured in me now. Like this peace is going to be protected. It ain't gonna be just today you have peace and tomorrow you don't. And I think that's what people get wrong in the world today, right? And I think that's what a lot of Christians just go wrong too. Like you think, okay, you're following God, that there will be things that come against you that takes you off your pivot to a sense, right? But it's like, how is your character and your demeanor throughout it all? Because you could very well be going through a storm and still have peace. That ain't meaning that you ain't going through the storm, but that just means throughout the storm you still have a peace that you can't even explain. A peace that keeps you reassured and keeps you hopeful and keeps you joyful. When the world don't even understand why you even have joy, because to a normal person, that you should be down and out and crying. But like this is what God provides people who trust in Him. So you could keep on going.
Yeah, bro. And man, I can't remember what I was making, but
My
it's something
bad.
about it's yeah, it's all good. I wasn't focused though, but I think I was gonna say like throughout the book of Isaiah, it's a lot of connected prophecies,
Hmm.
mostly focus on the state of Judah during the time where Isaiah lived. They have some future prophecies, like future that prophesies far down the line. But most of the prophecies they end on a good note. You know what I mean? You think about the book of Revelation, right? You see how it started. It was like, oh man, this Jesus come to me. You know, he was so like so specific. His feet of bronze, you know, the hair, eyes of lightning, and you know what I mean. And you get to telling me this message, and you know, I scared, bro. And then we get all the way to the end of the book, and we see where Jesus coming with the reward for us. You know what I'm saying? Like
With the reward, the beautiful depiction of heaven. Yeah.
exactly. And so, like, that's what I like about these prophecies as well, because they talking about some serious stuff, right? This was one of them ones where it's like it's just pure hopefulness. Yeah, a king is coming. We're gonna correct this. You know what I'm saying? But hey, don't get too comfy though, because right now I don't want y'all to get complacent because this gonna happen until the spirit pours on, until spirit from on high pours out, until he pours out his spirit. I'll say, and then what happens then? Peace. You know what I'm saying? Peace, quietness, and just order. Just straight across, straight across the board. And ultimately, bro, our world that we live in, it ain't peaceful.
No.
Sometimes it could be in
No,
peace.
not at all.
You know what I mean? Your neighborhood might be peaceful. You know what I mean? You might go on vacation and peaceful. But the world we live in, bro, a lot of sick things happening, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? You watch these documentaries, you watch the news, a lot of stuff happening, bro. It's not a peaceful place, right? But it's assuring to know that this isn't, that there's a higher power, there's God, that doesn't want this for us. It almost hard to believe. Almost unfathomable having a world of perfect peace. You know, thinking about a world where everybody just happy, hunky dory. That might sound a little annoying to me, like if I just being real. But I obviously, in my sinful mind and thing, but everybody want peace, bro. Everybody wants peace. Even the most contentious person want peace. That's why even when they say it's better to sleep on a roof than to live with a contentious wife,
We didn't even get to that, but yeah.
real talk. We might talk about that next episode, but that's peace. It's like I on the roof so I could get peace. You get what I'm saying? But you don't want to be, bro. Not much time, but they say, but people sit in their driveway. They ain't want to go inside because they know they go inside. It's like you got to deal with this argument or too much noise or whatever have you. Some people just want their peace, bro. You get what I'm saying? But we serve a God who, that's what He wants for all of us, bro. If it was his, if he could have his perfect way right now, it would just be complete and utter peace for everybody, and that's something that we as Christians have to look forward to by the grace of God. One day we're gonna all be able to live in perfect peace.
Amen.
Amen. Isaiah 32 opens up with a vision of a righteous king and just leaders who bring peace and protection. In contrast, the current society is marked by complacency, injustice, and oppression. The prophet warns that desolation will come until the Spirit is poured out from on high, transforming the land into a place of justice, righteousness, and abundance. The chapter ends with the promise of peace, security, and rest for those who live uprightly, while warning that judgment awaits the wicked. But we'll discuss more in the book of Isaiah on the next episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. Tonight's episode included voice acting by your host, Nakhaz. Remember to go ahead and research on your own in order to get a more firm understanding of tonight's episode. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can follow us on social media at A Breath of Fresh Air Pod on Instagram and BOFAPOD on Twitter. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week.